Hi, I'm Dan Williams with Seattle City Light's Communications and Public Affairs Division, and I want to welcome you to this edition of Netline. We're up at the Skagit Hydroelectric Project in New Halem at the J.D. Ross Library. Now, Seattle has its big, fancy new downtown library, but that's not very convenient for the families who live up here on the Skagit project. In this program, we're going to look at how City Light employees have worked hard to keep their lending library open and up to date for all generations of readers. Also in this program, we're going to learn how City Light has helped remove more greenhouse gases from the atmosphere by making clean hydroelectric power available to cruise ships that dock in Seattle. Habla Español? City Light has gone live with a new Spanish language website. We'll show you how to find it on the internet. And some local kids helped City Light celebrate the summer Seafair parade circuit by performing the electric slide. Seattle City Light's Skagit project has had a library for at least 50 years. Back then, New Halem and Diablo were remote but bustling towns supporting 3 hydroelectric dams more than 120 miles northeast of Seattle. Workers brought their families here, and generations have grown up using the library. There are still families in New Halem and Diablo, though maybe not as many, and they're still looking for a good book to read. Linda Bromwell is librarian, and she says that while the workforce is smaller, the library is still well used.
It's a variety of people. People come down from the powerhouses, people who are in camp services. Everyone's welcome here.
That includes forest rangers and highway construction workers who can purchase subscriptions to the library. Library services have changed since 50 years ago. Now those services include public access to the internet as well as movie videos and DVDs.
The video and DVD collection is very popular, especially in the wintertime when people can't get outside.
Let's face it, it's a long way from New Halem to Blockbuster. Bromwell says she gets most of the books for adult readers through a subscription service that keeps her stocked with bestsellers, and there is a substantial permanent collection of books. But it's the local employees themselves who keep the library vibrant for all generations.
We do have a wonderful friends group. Friends of the library, like most other libraries have, and they do fundraisers throughout the year. They also own the DVD and video collection and keep that very well up to date. And then a couple times a year they will purchase books that I recommend for the children's section.
The internet service is open to the public, and the word seems to be out among the touring bike riders who pedal through the North Cascades on State Route 20. It's known as a good place to take a break and check in on personal email. For logistical and financial reasons, the J.D. Ross Library recently became independent from the Seattle Public Library System. Bromwell says City Light has provided financial and technical support to keep the library operating.
And we purchased our own circulation software. IT takes care of our internet access, and we're getting a WorldCat subscription, which will allow us to have interlibrary loan services from 7,000 libraries worldwide. So we can offer the same basic services as you would get in downtown. We're just much more remote.
Linda reminds us that all City Light employees can borrow books from the J.D. Ross Library. You just need to fill out a card. You can even take a book back to Seattle and return it through interoffice mail. By the way, if you're planning to come up and visit the Skagit project, you may encounter some short delays. Remember those floods and rock slides that hit the Skagit back in the winter of 2003 and 4? Well, road repairs are still going on, and traffic between New Halem and Diablo is one lane, so there are some modest backups. You might want to check with the Washington State Department of Transportation on their website to see if they have any lengthy closures planned. We've had a nice visit at the J.D. Ross Library in New Halem. It's a full-service library, and let's see if their computer here can get us to the Seattle City Light Spanish language website. We go to www.seattle.gov/light. We've got the home page, and right here at the top, en español. Click on that, and bienvenidos a Seattle City Light.
In late July, City Light introduced its new Spanish-language website. Superintendent Jorge Carrasco demonstrated the site to an English as a second language class at the New Holly Learning Center in South Seattle. The event, sponsored by Mayor Greg Nichols, was to highlight several multi-language translations of the city's different service-oriented websites.
One of the important things that the mayor has asked all of the city departments to do is to try to make sure that we are making the services we provide readily accessible to people from all parts of the community. And as Seattle has grown more and more diverse, we have the challenge of making sure that we provide ways for each of you and your families to have access to information on the kind of service that City Light provides, as an example.
City Light's website took center stage for its depth and variety of pages. Pages for City Light services, information about bills, conservation, safety, and other useful contacts within the utility. In addition, there's information about contacts within the Latin community, including links to additional websites. There will be other non-English websites added in the near future, with Vietnamese expected to be the next. Also in July and August, the youth dance troupe Tap Central represented City Light in many of the community parades that always take place in conjunction with Seafair. Here's a little taste of some of the moves the kids and some City Light adults demonstrated to the music of the Electric Slide.
This summer, more tourists than ever will head out on cruises leaving from the Port of Seattle. The industry accounts for about 700,000 visitors each cruise season and has added 1,000 jobs and a payroll of $55 million to the Puget Sound economy. But maritime commerce has an important consequence. The air pollution from the exhaust of hundreds of ships entering Elliott Bay each month add greenhouse gas emissions to the atmosphere. This boosts the impact of climate change. Maritime exhaust can be some of the dirtiest, and most big ships never shut down engines while in port, since vital systems must be kept running, even while tied up to the dock. The cruise industry has increased trips from Seattle 100-fold since 1999, and brings with it some of the newest, most modern ships in the world. Technology and some infrastructure upgrades at Pier 30's cruise terminal will go a long way to reduce the impacts of air pollution and help City Light reach its goal of becoming greenhouse gas neutral by the end of 2005. The utility teamed up with the Port of Seattle and Princess Cruise Lines to make changes to allow some of its luxury liners to shut down their engines while in port and connect up to use City Light electricity. City Light will buy the greenhouse gas offsets created when the ships don't have to run their generators. It might seem like an easy goal to just plug in the ship as you might any appliance. With 5 dining rooms, nightclubs, bars, and 24-hour room service, the Diamond Princess uses about the same amount of electricity as any large downtown hotel.
Yes, it's Diamond Princess. Yes, gave me permission, yeah.
10-4, closing 11 kV breaker.
So it takes a lot of coordination to add that kind of electric load when the ship comes in and then subtract it when the ship leaves. The partners celebrated this accomplishment recently alongside the ship. The Environmental Protection Agency helped fund the costs of putting in the extra equipment, and the Port of Seattle worked with City Light and Princess Cruise Lines to make the necessary changes. By purchasing the greenhouse gas offsets, the utility looks on the cruise line as both a new customer and also a partner in reducing greenhouse gas emissions.
It truly was a community effort, and I think that Seattle should be commended for having leaders that are able to see an opportunity and to put together a collaboration to really bring such a successful and exciting project to fruition here. Just the mere fact that we're the second place in the world to have done this speaks highly about the area's commitment to working responsibly with the environment.
These are measurable improvements, according to Port Commission President Bob Edwards.
Each ship using shore power will avoid burning 35 tons of fuel each time it's in port, saving 1,400 tons of fuel over a cruise season. And that's equal to taking 1,100 cars off the road for a year.
Every reduction in greenhouse gases helps the utility reach its important goal.
And by relying on a series of projects, including internal efforts on the part of the utility, and this project being an important one of those, we've been able to achieve by the end of this year 0 greenhouse gas emissions from all operations that City Light is involved in.
Since Seattle is only the second port in the world to provide service like this to cruise ships, other port cities are now looking at the possibility of taking similar steps to improve air quality and the environment. Once again, Seattle leads the way. I'm Sharon Bennett for Seattle City Light.
Thanks for watching Netline. And if you have something you think other employees would enjoy knowing about, send an email to the address on the screen. I'm Dan Williams for Netline.